Hey, have you had your dose of pep today? Yo, welcome to episode 1 of the Pep Talk Podcast, y'all. It's about to get crazy. I'm so excited. Hey, I'm your host, your friend, your cheerleader, your coach. It's Coach Jay. And in this episode, I'm going to answer an important question for you from the jump. I'm not going to make you wait. I'm going to tell you if this podcast is for you right after this. Welcome back to episode 1 of the Pep Talk Podcast. I am Coach Jay, and I am so jazzed that you are here with me for the start of history. Episode 1 of a new podcast is always exciting, and so I'm glad to have you here. I'm so excited to have you on this journey of podcasting with me. So I don't want to waste your time, okay? Because, see, if you're like me at all, before you jump into any situation, there is a prevailing question that goes through your head. I know it goes through mine. It's like, what am I going to get out of this? Right? Or maybe it's something like, how will this help me serve my clients? Or how will this help me become a better teacher? Or how will this increase my impact, my influence, and my income? So like when you go into a new situation and you're asking yourself those questions, essentially what you're saying is, what is the value for this, right? And I know it sounds selfish, but really it's not, because your time is precious. And if what you're spending your time on is not bringing something new out of you or sharpening something inside of you, then the return on investment, the ROI, is going to be seen as being low. So I decided to make this first episode centered on telling you about the 3 types of people that this podcast is for. That's right, I said it. There are 3 types of people that this podcast will bring absolute value for. Now, as I jump into this, I jump into it understanding, like market research, businesses, entrepreneurs, startups, we're all encouraged to have a specific audience in mind, right? They tell us to visualize our avatar, that ideal customer, give them a name, think about what they want, what they don't want, what they like, what they don't like, even as specific as all the way down to what colors does your ideal customer like to wear. And I'm not going to get that specific right now, but as a mindset / life coach, something that I'm always thinking about is who is benefiting. Who is that ideal person who is benefiting from what I offer? If I create an ebook, I'm thinking about that specific person. If I create, a course, I'm thinking about that specific person. So I'm going to talk about 3 specific audiences that I'm trying to reach with this podcast. And what I'm hoping is that you'll take the time to listen. And I hope that one of these hits you right where you live. So the first person that this podcast is for, it's for the person who needs a cheerleader. Y'all, my tagline for this podcast is I'm going to cheer you on and coach you up. So the first type of person that this podcast is going to benefit is going to be the person who needs a cheerleader. You might be that person that's bound by fear. You lack belief in yourself. You have serial imposter syndrome. Your life is defined by your limiting beliefs, or how you are a serial supporter of everybody else, but you can't seem to muster the same belief, excitement, and enthusiasm about what you have going on and about what your dream is. And here's why this podcast is going to be perfect for you if you need this cheerleader. So I've been to sporting events, and you know that the cheerleaders are right down there on the field. And, whether it's basketball and they're doing their cheer, about how we need a basket, or if it's a football game and they're screaming, defense, defense. Or if it is a soccer game and the soccer fans, they have all of their cheers, they bring such enthusiasm and excitement into a game. Now, I know people out there who may look at this and say, if the players on the field don't have the motivation to come out and perform their best anyway, then why are they even playing? But I want to encourage you to take a different slant on this, because I've seen teams that were down a lot. And it is the encouragement and the belief and the enthusiasm from those cheerleaders that reinforces their belief in themselves and helps to push them to make the game competitive, and even in some cases to go on and win. So here's why. If you need a cheerleader, this is the podcast for you. Because in my mindset coaching practice, one of the things that I am big on is celebrating you. Like, if we have put a plan together, and even if you don't hit the goal, but you hit 1% of the goal, oh yeah, we're celebrating. We're raising the roof. I'm clapping for you. I'm giving you laud. Because here's what I understand. Celebration is important. Cheer is important. Research has shown that people who have other people, a community of belief around them, a community of cheerleaders around them, are more likely to hit their goals. They're more likely to not give up than people who were trying to do it on their own. And I want to dispel a myth for you, because there are a lot of people out there who says, "Oh, I'm a lone wolf, Jay. I'm a lone wolf." But you weren't created to be, right? At some point in your life, if you say that you're that lone wolf, somebody hurt you and has caused you to believe that you have to go through this life. You have to chase your dreams on your own. But let me stop you right there and let me challenge you, because your dream, your purpose is not just for you. We were created to accomplish goals and to achieve dreams in the company of people who are like us, who are challenging us, who are believing in us. So you need a cheerleader. You may not think you need a cheerleader, but on this podcast, if you're coming back week by week, if you're tuning in for the blog and the newsletter and the digital content, you're going to see that I'm trying to hype you up. I'm trying to gas you up. I'm trying to instill you with so much belief that you may have an image of me in your head with pom-poms, just giving you all of the cheer and enthusiasm and excitement that I could muster. Because everybody needs a cheerleader. It's simple as that. And if you're afraid to celebrate yourself, don't worry. I ain't scared to celebrate you. Let's get it. Okay, so the second type of person that this podcast is for is the person who needs a coach. Now, I understand that out here in these streets, coaching has a bad name. But I want to ask you a question. How much better does an athlete get without coaching? And if coaching is seen as such a normal part of athletics, how much more do we need coaching in everyday life, right? Because that coach on the football field, on the baseball diamond, that coach is there to look objectively into the mechanics and the systems that player is using. And the coach suggests things and puts things into motion to maximize the potential of that player. In the same fashion, a life coach, a mindset coach, a motivational coach, we look objectively into your life, and we can often see things that you don't see. Here's the story from my own life. So at the beginning of 2022, I felt incredibly dissatisfied with my life, with my trajectory, where I was going, and all that jazz. And I didn't know how to get out of that headspace of feeling like I was stuck, feeling like my dreams were so far away, etc., etc. Cue March. March is when I ran across a dude by the name of Manny Hall. And I want you all take some time. If you're on Instagram, look him up, Manny Hall. Dude is dynamic. I'll include his name in the show notes and his Instagram handle for you. But his name is Manny Hall of Manny Hall Associates. And I hired him to coach me. And let me tell you how working with Manny for 3 months set me on a new trajectory. In one of our first sessions, Manny had me stop and talk about where I was in my life and why I felt like I was there. And I was telling Manny, I'm like, yo, man, I'm so busy, man. I'm teaching full time. My wife is in school to become a chiropractor. We have 5 kids and there's just no time. And Manny just stopped me and he said, yo, I don't believe you. What are you afraid of that is stopping you from being great? He said, dude, you're not afraid to fail. You're afraid to succeed. And I'm sitting there like, who is this dude telling me what I'm afraid of? But as we spent more time together and Manny objectively pulled and peeled back the curtains of my life and of my mindset, he was able to sharpen me. And as a result of working with Manny, now I'm a life coach. Now I'm a mindset coach doing for other people what Manny was able to do for me. And listen, I was one of those people in the beginning that was like, this coaching stuff, it is full of charlatans. It's full of frauds. It's not for me. I can do this on my own. But once I got in it and I realized it for what it actually is, it is another person objectively looking into your life with the goal of helping you to maximize every ounce of who you were created to be. Y'all, once I saw that, I could care less about the frauds and the charlatans. I trusted my intuition. I trusted my coach. And here I am with you now in 2023 with a podcast and with my own coaching service, doing for others what Manny did for me. Now listen. According to Forbes, you have people at the very top of industry with life coaches. You have Oprah with a life coach. Bill Gates, y'all. Bill Gates has a life coach. Hugh Jackman has a life coach. Wolverine has a life coach, and they work extensively with these coaches to help them with their mindset and their approaches as it relates to all of the different things that they have their hands in. And I've also seen research out there and statistics that suggests that the number of people seeking some type of coaching is expected to increase exponentially over these next 5 years. Now, I'm not saying that I do what I do because of the money. Y'all, affecting lives, that is what I live by every day. I long to leave people in a better situation than when I met them, like my coach did for me. And if there are people out there who are feeling like they no longer have access to their dreams, I want to come beside you and be that voice that tells you it's not too late. As long as you have breath in your lungs, there is more for you to access. There are more goals for you to reach. There is more for your purpose. There's more for you to access in this life. So let's work. Let's get it. And if you're looking for a coach, then this is the absolutely best podcast for you to be listening to. Now, if you've ever said any of these following statements, I am 100% sure that this podcast is going to be an enormous value add for you. So just go on and subscribe, go on tell your friends. You're sometimes friends and you're never friends. But if you've said one of these things, then I'm sure this is going to be the litmus test on if this is the podcast for you. So number 1, I feel stuck. Have you ever said, I feel stuck? Have you ever maybe felt it, but maybe you didn't say it? Like, we don't like to admit when we're stuck, but the fact is, so many of us feel stuck in our careers. We feel stuck in relationships. We feel stuck in relation to where we thought we'd be by whatever certain age you are. Sometimes we feel stuck, and if you've ever felt stuck, this is the podcast for you, because we're going to introduce you to strategies that are going to help you to get unstuck in life. It's not the will of God for you that you're stuck or that you stay in the same place, y'all. I heard a pastor say Sunday that comfort is the enemy. Comfort is the enemy of progress. As long as you're comfortable, you're stuck. And I know you don't want to be stuck. So number 2, something terrible has happened and I don't know how to process it. Maybe you've had some type of upheaval in your life and you're finding it hard to find your way out of it. I've been there. I've been fired from jobs and, I felt all discombobulated as a result. Or maybe you've said something wonderful happened, but I don't know if I should be happy about it because I don't know how it's going to affect everything else. It's going to throw my life in flux like things are good, but oh my gosh, I don't know what to do about this. If you've said that, I got you. We're going to work and we're going to talk and we're going to learn together how to accept the beautifully wonderful things in life without allowing them to fill us with apprehension and dread about how something else is going to be affected. Y'all, it is okay to be happy. Y'all, it's okay to have, terrible things happen and not know how to process it. It's okay, if you feel stuck. But it's not okay for you to stay stuck. It's not okay for you to stay in that terrible place. It's not okay to not be able to rightly process good things happening to you in life. And so my promise to you is that in this podcast, I'm going to do everything that I can to give you tools to process and tools to move on and tools to elevate. So if you've ever thought that you needed a coach, you're in the right place. I got you. All right. Now, this last thing, this podcast is for people who are ready to start. I'm going to say that again. This podcast is for people who are ready to start like you. You're ready to start like you know that there is something inside of you that is begging and screaming and banging on tables to come out. You see life differently. You no longer want the status quo. You feel a discontent. You feel a restlessness. You've been awakened and you refuse to go back to sleep. And that's how I felt for a few years prior to this year. And I'll never forget at the beginning of this year, I just felt in my heart, and you could say God spoke to me, that's cool, I'll take that. But I felt in my heart 3 words: no more shrinking. No more shrinking. Like, what? No more shrinking? That means, Jay, it's time for you to be all that you were created to be. It's time for you to stop minimizing all of the gifts and abilities and skills that you have. And just like I have received and internalized, and I'm living my life by that now, I'm telling you, as you were listening, no more shrinking. Like, it's 2023 now. It's time out for all that shrinking. It's time out for all that, oh, shucks, that's not really me. No, it is you. You are him. You are her. And what's inside of you is enough to reach people and shake them from their doldrums when they see how you've chosen to elevate, how you are believing differently about yourself, how you're speaking differently about yourself. But here's the thing, y'all. You have to start. You have to start. You can't just go into this year talking about, oh, come February or come March, I'm going to be ready. No, you'll never be ready to start. That's why you need to start right now. Because if you give yourself a date, let's say I would have said, okay, all right, June 16th, 2023, I'm going to start my podcast because it'll be the optimal time. 1, think about all the time that I've wasted. Right? Trying to wait for the perfect time. But 2, as June approaches, things are going to get crazy, and every type of opposition that I could come up against to start is going to start coming against me. That's why I challenge you. The first Pep Talk Podcast challenge. I challenge you to start now. And in this podcast, every episode, I'm going to challenge you to look at your dreams and to look at which one you can start right now. When the podcast is over, after you've listened, after you've watched, that you get started. The truest remedy to fear and anxiety is action. Let me say that again. The truest remedy to fear and anxiety is action. By taking action, you are launching a direct offensive against every force that wants you to stay stuck, against every force that wants you to be average, against every force that wants you to live your life in a shrunken state. And I'm here to tell you that that is not you. That's not what you're created for. That's not what you're here for. You're not here to be average. Everybody can be special, and that doesn't water down what special is. There is purpose inside of you. There's a plan inside of you. There are goals for you to reach. You just have to start. Wake up. Don't go back to sleep. Access the pep inside of you. Listen to my words. Feel my passion. And start. So I think I've made my case. If you are a person who needs a cheerleader, then this podcast is for you. If you are a person who needs a coach, this podcast is for you. And if you are a person who just needs to start, this podcast is for you. So what are you waiting on? We got work to do. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button. Shoot me an email. Let's talk. I'll be right back. All right, so in closing every podcast out, I'm going to have a section that I just call the quote of the day. All right, so here is today's quote, and it's by Herman Melville. It says, "It is better to fail in originality than to succeed in imitation." You just got to be you. Just be you, and everything's going to work out. Yo, I'm so glad that you have chosen to be here with me for episode 1 of what's going to be an amazing journey for you and for me. For us, it's going to be great. If you found value in this podcast, I can't encourage you enough to reach out and let me know. Okay? If there's something that you want me to talk about, shoot me an email. If there's something that you want me to include, let me know, y'all. I want to hear. I want to hear from you, because this is not my thing. This is our thing. This is our space. This is our time. And so, if you found any value, if this has stirred anything in you, y'all, please subscribe, like, comment, share it out with people that you know need need messages like this to get them going. And follow us on our socials. On Twitter, you can reach us at Pep Talk Pod. On IG, you can hit me up at _JB Speaks. You can go to our WordPress site, the Pep Talk Pod at WordPress.com. And then you can email us at thepeppodcast@gmail.com. Y'all, I want to hear from you. I love you. I think you are amazing. You are incredible. There's nobody like you. There's nobody who can do what you were placed here to do. So remember that and get started. This is the Pep Talk Podcast. I'm Coach Jay. We'll see you next time. Be blessed.